Hey, thanks for coming, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You guys have no other people to hang out with on a Sunday or what?
Well, I prefer to hang out with you.
I
than
don't.
anybody
It
else
was
in the
this or a
world.
nap.
We're live.
All right.
Ring
Let's
her
put
on.
Sanger on the map.
How are we going to do that?
I'll start.
Okay.
All right. Now I got a little story to tell. It's my first encounter with FPD.
Okay.
You guys can stop and ask a question if you want, but I'll just kind of go through it. Back in 1992, I was playing basketball at Logan Park with some friends of mine, some lawyers, in fact. And we didn't realize it at the time, but we were playing with off-duty Fresno PD. And at some point during the game, invariably, I offended somebody. It was a Fresno PD off-duty. And this guy, he told me to leave the park, right? And I said, well, leave the park by sundown? I said, you can arrest me or not arrest me, but you can't tell me what to do, right? And so he started walking towards me. And I said, don't get near me. He keeps walking. Don't get near me. He gets closer. Boom, I hit him. He drops. Turns out I broke his jaw. And all the other off-duty cops, it was a chaos for a little bit, right? But then next thing I know, my friends are saying, hey, let's go. And I said, I'm not going anywhere. I didn't do anything wrong. And so I stopped. I waited for the cops. Shouldn't have done that. But at any rate, the cops show up with the squad car and all that. They put me in the back, cuff me, and I'm not tripping. I'm just calm. I'm like, whatever. They'll figure this out later. And I'm talking to these cops that came. And one of the things I told them in this early discussion, I told them, oh yeah, and my buddy has a camcorder, and he has the whole thing on tape. And I talked about other things, and that really freaked him out. Really. Next thing you know, I'm sitting in the back of the squad car, and I'm listening to like the dispatch. Like some lady comes on and says, oh yeah, suspect, Logan Park, no shirt, blue shorts, white high tops. That's me. Something about handing needles to little kids. And I'm like, holy shit, what the hell was that, right? And I looked at these cops, and they kind of looked and sneered at me. And, of course, I kind of took the bait and started cussing at them. And at that point, I knew that this was very dangerous. This is a little bit aggravated, beyond the norm, right? And I'm not a lawyer. I'm 22. But anyway, and so as they start to take me downtown, and I start, basically cussing at them. I didn't know what they were going to do with me. Going downtown, we didn't go to the jail, which is where you get booked and all that. They took me down this alleyway. I went down. I didn't know exactly where I was, middle of downtown. And ultimately, it was there's a small road that kind of dips down and dips back up in the back of it. And as I'm going there, I see these trash cans, like bins or whatnot. And I'm like, are they going to fucking throw me in there? I had no idea what they were going to do. So I get out. They're leading me, towards the middle of this depression in the road, and I'm handcuffed, and they're behind me. And I'm like, what the fuck am I do now? I was like, do I fight this out, or I don't know what to do. Right? I'm heading towards the fucking trash cans. Which
This was 1992.
92. That's right.
All right.
And so I'm. So I just, I see the first cop. They're kind of not paying attention so much. I, do a step-up sidekick, and I smack the first cop. And he doubles over. But the other guy was like, the coach for Mahomes and the Chiefs, right? The big guy, walrusy kind of.
Andy Reid.
Yeah, he looked like him, kind of big. He grabbed the back of my cuffs and the back of my head. He slammed me into the concrete wall right there. Just face first, boom. Just blood and guts everywhere. My knees, my face, my shoulder, all just smashed up and just blood everywhere. And then next thing you know, they throw me on the ground and they tie me up in a hog tie. And that's where your legs are like this and your hands are like this, and only basically part of my stomach was touching the ground, right? I can't even find a hog tie on Google right now. There's some lame ones, but I was like a donut, just yanked up, cartilage, everything, just couldn't believe it. And they brought me inside. There's a door, which I didn't see, that goes into the basement of the bottom floor, right? And in there, it's dimly lit. They got these cells, all bars. And they bring me into there. They set me down on my stomach, and they shut the door. So I'm locked, hogtied, bleeding out, and that's what's happening. And then a few minutes later, this guy comes in. He looks like he was not in a uniform. like a plaid shirt, big guy, And he looks at me and he says, "What are you going to do if I let you out of those cuffs?" And I look at him and I'm like, "I'll be cool, dude. I'm done with this. Let me out, right?" And he shakes his head no. He doesn't say anything. He shakes his head, kind of disappointed, and he walks off. Now, about 10 minutes later, he comes back. Now, this is racking pain, worse than anything I've had in my life, right? And I want out of this shit. He comes back and asks me again, "Hey, what are you going to do if I let you out of those cuffs?" And then I kind of, "Well, I don't know, man. Just, I'll sit over there, this, that." Shakes his head, walks off. And I'm thinking, holy shit, 10 minutes later, he comes back. He says, "What are you going to do if I let you out of those cuffs?" And by this time, I get it, right? I'm going to fucking kick your ass. I'm going to fucking, hit him over the head. I mean, whatever, And this time he's like, he gave me a little shake, a nod, but it wasn't good enough, right? And so he walks off. I'm like, fuck, this keeps going. And then he comes back again 10 minutes later. "What are you going to do if I let you out of those cuffs?" Now, just as a side note, I wasn't just in cuffs. I had several pairs of cuffs. There's wires, all kinds of shit. I wouldn't say that I'm just in cuffs, right? But that was his wording. And this time I said, "First thing I'm going to do is kick the fuck out of you, and then I'm going to kick the fuck out of him. I'm going to go over here and cut his fucking throat." And fucking, I just escalated as much as I could, yelling. And this time he was almost there, right? I'm like, fuck, So he goes. And then at this point, I say something like, "Fuck, all right, there's no fucking camcorder tape, all right?" And then I hear cheers from people I don't even see in the back, just like 6 or 7 people, boom, right? That was weird. But at any rate, so they got that out of me, right? And then, so we come back again. "What are you going to do if I let you out of those cuffs?" And I let him have it. "I'm going to slice your throat. I'm going to kill your mom. I'm going to fucking whatever. You know what I mean? Just the worst of the worst I could think of. And at that point, they open the door. He walks off. Never saw him again. Those were the only words he ever said to me. "What are you going to do if I let you out of those cuffs?" And then I was picked up, kind of carted out. And as I'm going towards the exit, I feel this prick in my arm, and I've given blood. I know what needles feel like, right? Boom, I feel it. I'm like, whatever I can do, nothing. And they set me in the paddy wagon, shut the doors, just darkness. And then, seems like forever, but it's probably only 10 minutes where I get to community, right? And then they open the door. Finally, I see my dad. I know he was looking for me from the start because my buddies at the park had called him. And I know the cops only had an hour and a half to mess around with me before they had to be accountable. Like, I left the park in perfect shape, handcuffed. Now I'm coming to the hospital, fucking blood and guts all over my face, knees, arms, shoulder, all messed up, right? And everyone's kind of shocked at what happened, right? At any rate, I tried to say something to my dad, and nothing could really come out. And that cop with the walrus guy, right? Andy Reid, he goes, "Shh," like that. He's always near me the whole time at the hospital. He got me in a gurney, took me to a room. He was right there. But I couldn't form a sentence. I wasn't it's like I could think, but I couldn't speak, it was just tongue tied. Whatever they gave me, I don't know what it was. But ultimately, this whole experience, it's pretty dark. And that what they were doing to me is they were tape recording me, say, "I'm going to kill you, motherfucking pig. I'm going to whatever," right? By torturing this. And what would be easy to do, they could just go shoot me and then say, "Hey, Kinney, yeah, he reached for my partner's gun. I had to withdraw my, department-issued firearm and, save the day by shooting him. And why don't you play the tape of what he sounded like, right? Killing motherfucker, I'm going to kill you, he's obviously a nut. We all knew that. We all knew he was going to go out like that. Police were right about him all along. Next, So that's what was happening. And that thing about what are you going to do if I let you out of those cuffs? He wasn't saying what are you going to do when I let you out of that hog tie, right? Because it has to be a setup from the way you heard it. It would be like you'd be on the street. "Hey, what are you going to do if I let you out of those cuffs, Mr. Kinney?" Whatever, and then whatever they want to do.
Is he conditioning you?
Well, they can make you say whatever you want. By saying, what are you going to do when I let you out of those cuffs? The normal answer is, "Hey, I'll be cool," right? But that's not the right answer. The only way you're getting out of those cuffs is by going the opposite way, right? And it could be any question you want. Did you rape that girl? They could make you say the opposite, right? And there's no way that pain is so incredible and so nuts. You have to say whatever it is, right? I got to the point I couldn't say anything else but I'm going to kill all you motherfuckers and cut your throats. That was the only way out of that hog tie. Now, how many people have? I've never heard of anyone been dealing with this, right? Probably because they're all dead. You know, I don't think they go this far without following through. You know, they had a problem with me because of the time issues. My dad's on the hunt looking for me, and I'm all messed up. If I didn't have all the scars and blood and all this stuff for them to explain, it's a lot easier to say, "Hey, he reached for the gun. I shot him. This is what he was saying," right? But when I'm all jacked up, they had a problem with that. It was you couldn't. The story got real complex. You know, they couldn't explain it all. How do you explain shooting this guy that's all fucked up head to toe that's been handcuffed?
What'd you tell your dad?
Everything.
Everything that you just said right now.
Yeah, I've told everyone this.
And did you hire somebody to sue them?
No,
Why?
because I talked to my dad, and it was he knew he was smart and he kind of knew the politics involved. And here they had me, I don't know, numerous strike charges for great bodily injury to the officer and all that, and kicking the other officer and all this shit, right? So all that went away, and it was deemed that I wasn't even guilty of anything to begin with. But at any rate, all of that went away. They went away. I went away. Okay, I went out of town for school. Okay, and that was sort of like, let's get out of here. You know what I mean? It's like you can fool around with suing, right? And you can fool around with these fucking killers all you want, right? How are you going to spend your money when you're in a canal cutting pieces? You know what I mean? You got to think of that too.
So you're looking at Vegas odds now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It was. There's something to say about just getting away from the situation. You know what I mean? I had all my arms and legs. I had my mind. I can get out of here. You know, I can be safe.
But it's still in your memories.
Oh fuck yeah! I didn't forget any of it.
Right.
And that's 1992. I don't know if they're doing this stuff anymore. Check for sound equipment in that basement room. But I'm not saying they're doing it now. But I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying they did it then. And that's that's pretty crazy.
How do you deal with that now?
Well, I've had stuff to deal with since then that takes the place.
Does it pile it on or does it add to it?
That's actually not the worst thing that's happened. So
No?
no. That's like number 3.
Was that the start of it?
Yeah, that was my introduction
22.
to law enforcement, police. Right.
Now, that was the introduction. You said that it was number 3. What's number 2?
Wait, that was number 3?